Frick contracted the Pinkerton Private Security Agency to defend the Homestead Works. At around 10:30 p.m. on July 5th, some 300 Pinkerton agents assembled about 5 miles downstream of Pittsburgh. The Pinkertons, many of whom were hired through a temp agency, were completely unaware of what their assignment was, but they were given Winchester rifles and badges that read, Watchman, Carnegie Company Limited. The steel workers, however, were well aware of what the Pinkertons had in store, as they had been notified of the Pinkertons' departure from Boston. When it was confirmed that the agents had indeed made it to Pittsburgh, a small flotilla of Union boats sailed downriver to go and meet the Pinkertons. Strikers on the steamboat fired a few warning shots at the Pinkertons before quickly retreating back to the plant to warn the others. At 2:30 in the morning on July 6, the striking workers blew the factory's steam whistle, alerting the town to take action. Within minutes, thousands of men, women, and children were drawn from their homes and towards Fort Frick. After waiting for about an hour and a half, the Pinkertons attempted to disembark in the 4 a.m. darkness, when shots began to ring out in the Monongahela Valley. Conflicting testimony exists as to who took the first shot in Homestead, with the New York Times reporting that it was the Pinkertons, and some witnesses claiming that it was one of the strikers. Regardless of who took the first shot, the first wounded individuals were William Foy, a steel worker, and Friedrich Hinde, captain of the Pinkerton agents. After the first shots rang out, the Pinkertons immediately fired into the crowd of workers, killing 2 and wounding 11. The strikers responded in kind, killing 2 and wounding 12 Pinkertons. Over the next several minutes, shots continued to ring out from both sides. The Pinkertons began to cut holes in the iron barges in order to make embrasures to shoot out of. The striking workers, meanwhile, huddled behind the mill's scrap iron for protective cover. It was around this time that the Pinkertons' flagship tugboat returned to the embarkation point with their wounded men, leaving the rest of their agents stranded at the mill. With this in mind, the striking workers set up ramparts out of scrap iron and positioned themselves upstream and above the Pinkerton barges. Hundreds of local wives, daughters, mothers, and sisters began to congregate midfield between the Pinkertons and their striking loved ones. The growing crowd of women began chanting in unison, "Kill the Pinkertons!" as the steel workers took the occasional pot shot at the iron barges from their new vantage points.